York to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today the primary goes down. Our brother Jumaane Williams, he's been representing New York City very well. Jumaane, you are running for governor of the state, yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is not your first time running for governor of the state.
Well, this is the first time running for governor. Last time I ran for lieutenant governor against this current governor. Yes, sir.
That's what it was. And you beat Kathy Hochul. It should be noted that down here in New York City, you got more votes than Kathy Hochul for lieutenant governor, but the challenge was upstate, correct?
That's correct. So when we ran, I said at that point that I didn't really think we were getting the best representation of the lieutenant governor. Sadly, we turned out to be right because we needed a lot more help as we saw with the past governor. We didn't have that much money. We didn't get a lot of institutional support, but we always do well with the voters. So we actually won New York City, and we came within 6 or 7 points of beating an incumbent. So we're very proud about that. We were able to use that to become public advocate. But now folks understand where they are and how they're feeling, and they're not feeling any better. And so we represent the best opportunity to make some change here in New York.
What is the lieutenant governor's primary job? Most people don't know. I don't know, but it became evident when Cuomo was out of here that the lieutenant governor needed to be ready and up to the time. So what's the job?
So one, you definitely got to be ready and be up for the job. It's usually been used as someone who just cuts ribbons and runs around cutting ribbons on behalf of the governor. What I presented in 2018 is we need more than that, particularly where we are. We needed somebody who was willing to speak up and speak out when New Yorkers were suffering. And that's why I'm supporting Anna Maria Archila for lieutenant governor, because I know she's going to do that. The politics of usual, the status quo, politics in the Democratic Party has brought us to the point that we are right now, where people are feeling unsafe, where they're worried about housing, the economy. These Supreme Court decisions can all be go back to 2016, 2020, when we told the party, stop giving people to vote against. Let's give them a vision to vote for. And that's why I'm running for governor, because we have a vision that really helps New Yorkers.
You make a very good point, because we've been saying for the last several days when we're talking about what's going on with the Supreme Court and reminding people that people didn't run out and vote for Biden. A lot of people ran out to vote against Donald Trump. Why would people be running out to vote for Jumaane Williams?
We saw the same thing, by the way, in 2016. We kept telling folks, we need somebody that's going to be exciting for the base. And the only way to do that is to give real plans for what people are dealing with. You look at public safety, for example. Most Democratic leaders, unfortunately, are terrible when it comes to talking about that. So they go to Republican-like talking points, but Republicans are better at their own talking points. So we helped lead this city to reduce the gun violence in 2018, 2019, pre-pandemic. So we asked for $1 billion to be put in this budget right now to help us with the strategies that worked previously, and we couldn't get that money. We got $1 billion to be built for a stadium that's owned and is owned by the governor's husband. You got $1 billion for that. It's not even been built in Buffalo. It's outside of Buffalo, instead of the money that we asked for. And so the priority.
Kathy Hochul's husband owns the stadium.
He works for the company that was bidding to get this money for the city. He's going to work for I believe the people who sell the popcorn and the hot dogs and all that. And so it's crazy, that connection. She stopped the budget and said, I'm not going to pass the budget till we get this $1 billion for the stadium. We said, what if you have a governor that's going to stop the budget and say, we're not going to move until we get $1 billion for this gun violence stuff? We knew the Supreme Court stuff was coming down. That's what was most frustrating. And by the way, the bills that she passed, that she came to the Bronx to pass, has nothing to do with the street violence most people are afraid of. We actually should have signed that in Buffalo, because that had to do with guns. That had to do with mass shootings. Two other quick things: even the body armor vest that's going to be banned, that bill doesn't even prevent the one that the shooter used in Buffalo. And the one bill that might have helped with the street violence shooting has to do with microstamping. That doesn't take effect for 4 years. And so we have somebody who made a commercial of bills that are not going to deal with the gun violence that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis.
Wow.
It's bad. It's real bad.
It's bad. I had no idea that there was an inside job going on with her husband's company. So he's clearly going to get bonused off getting that deal done, which ultimately will go back to their bank account.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, and it's hard you know, because I'm always running uphill. Thankfully, the voters always come out. That's why we're asking them to come out one more time. But we really know how to address this stuff. And if you remember in '94, we saw this uptick in violence. Everybody said 3 strikes you're out. The crime bill, we got to do this and we got to do that. And we said, people were saying, hold on for a second. But now people are apologizing 40 years later for that, because not only did it not take effect the way they wanted to, it caused a whole bunch of other problems. And so we're saying, let's not make that mistake again and apologize to my children 30, 40 years from now, where we can get it right now. We have a 10-point plan that actually does that. It doesn't allow excuses for people to shoot up a street. It provides for consequences and accountability. But we put a lot of emphasis on trying to prevent it from happening in the first place. And that's something that our leaders just have difficulty either understanding or being able to structuralize. We have a plan for day one of how to get that done.
Jumaane, today is election day, and I feel like I should be among the informed as I work here every day and we talk about these things, and it crept up on me. Do you worry that enough people don't know that today is election day and they need to get out and vote for you right now if they're hoping to make that happen?
What I'm most concerned about is that, I got to tell you, Democratic leadership doesn't do a really good job if it doesn't benefit them. So the governor's running now what's called a Rose Garden strategy, feeling that she doesn't really need to get folks out. And again, we have leaders that are more concerned about figuring out how they can finagle to get elected instead of doing what's best for New Yorkers. And that's really troubling to me, and it always has been. Voter turnout was low during early voting. So we're hoping people are just waiting to make a decision of coming out today. On top of that, this is, I think, only the second time we're having this primary in this month. On top of that, it's going to be more confusing because folks got to come back out in August. That's a whole nother conversation about redistricting and the maps that came out, which, by the way, were signed by Governor Kathy Hochul in an attempt to do some craziness that backfired. So it's not a surprise, but it's still very upsetting and frustrating. Hopefully, we've done a good job as much as we can to get our message out. We know whenever we get our message, people are receptive to it.
Wasn't there someone working for Kathy Hochul that recently had to step down? It was her lieutenant governor that recently had to step down. Once she took Cuomo's job, she brought somebody in, and that individual had to step down. What's the story there?
Yeah, she brought someone in. He had some issues and had to step down. The most thing I was worried about, most thing that frustrated me, is because the governor said I had no idea, which is the same thing that she said when she was with Governor Cuomo. That she took credit for everything good that happened, but had no idea about the bad that he was doing, even though she was with him for 6 years. And so there's this theme along how she does the job. And this is even what's worse, to replace that person. She's so into her own election. I want you to understand what's happening across this country as we're losing abortion rights and so many other rights are on the chopping block. As we see what's happened with the gun decision, we need every Democrat we can have in Congress. Her lieutenant governor right now won a swing state, which means he got that state from Republican to Democrat. And if that's what you're into, that's what you want. And it's a swing state. Instead of allowing him to run again so we can have every Democrat in Congress, she decided to take him because he's a black person with a Latino name, and he's now running for lieutenant governor against my candidate, Ana Maria Archila, and we may lose that seat to a Republican. This is the type
that's Antonio Delgado. That's my boy. So she plucked him out of that district, and now left that district available, so we may lose a House seat.
Wow. That is correct. And that's the type of politics, it's just frustrating because I don't want to go from the frying pan into the fire. I believe the Republicans are doing all kind of craziness, but I can't leave my party out because they failed so many times. So interested in the status quo politics, making sure they get reelected, their friends here are taken care of, but we suffer for that. And we're seeing it happen right now. What's happening in this country, in this state, is a direct result of failed Democratic leadership, which is why I decided, I got to run. We got to put a different vision out there because I have an amazing 13-year-old stepdaughter. I got a brand new baby girl. And when she
congratulations, man.
Thank you, man. Congrats. Appreciate you. Thank you. When she grows up, she figures out what happened. I'm gonna be able to say, Daddy did everything he could to make the state better for you. But we got a lot of leaders at the first thing they're thinking about is, how can I get elected? How can I get reelected? We got to start thinking about how can we help New Yorkers? How can we help the people who live here? The people who are worried about being safe, the people who are worried about being evicted and foreclosed on, the people who the economy is not working for. It's it's upsetting that folks get away with so much when people are hurting, and our campaign represents the best opportunity to do something new. You know, we keep hearing the governor and others say we have to return to normal. And I keep saying, hold on. Normal didn't work for most of us. We want to normalize people's lives again, but we lost 70,000 people in New York State because of normal. So the one thing that we could do is not go back there. We can have a new normal, a new New York. But if we had dealt with the issues that we've been talking about for a minute, we wouldn't have gotten as bad as we did.
Now, for everybody who's listening, I went to nycvotes.org. Okay, that's nycvotes.org. You can register to vote. Check your registration status just in case if you moved, because I moved recently, so I had to figure out where my polling site is. It breaks down all the candidates. So go to nycvotes.org. Okay, and that will break everything down for you and makes it's actually a very easy website to use, so you guys can get out there and be informed and go vote.
Jumaane, before we let you go, and people are going out to vote today, this is a primary. Part of being governor of New York State means that you have an interesting relationship with the mayor of New York City. How would you evaluate Eric Adams' performance as mayor so far? And what would that relationship be like if you were governor of New York State?
You know, I've worked with Eric for a long time. He was president of the borough of Brooklyn, where I was a council member, lifelong, like myself. We worked on a lot of issues together, particularly around gun violence. And so what I'm looking for more and more is the Eric Adams that I worked with in the borough of Brooklyn. I think there's some good ideas there, and I'm hoping to work with him to get those things really structuralized. As governor, we can provide the resources that are needed to get that done. Like I said, I would have provided that $1 billion that was needed from Brooklyn to Buffalo for gun violence prevention instead of a stadium. So I think I'm the type of governor that will work well with municipalities to deal with these issues that they've been looking for leadership for a very long time. Lastly, I did want to say, particularly folks who are worried about abortion rights and reproductive rights, the governor is coming back into session to deal with the gun violence stuff, which we should have dealt with before because we asked them to. But there are two things that we asked for in terms of abortion rights: the Equality Amendment and the Equity Fund, that would have helped primarily Black and Brown New Yorkers who needed the assistance, and New York and people who will be coming in from other states. We couldn't get those bills done. The governor still refuses to put that on the docket for right now. She still refuses to put good cause eviction to protect tenants on the docket right now. So there's a lot of things that we got to be moving forward on. And as Governor Williams' administration, you wouldn't even have to ask me for that. It'll be automatic.
Jumaane Williams, ladies and gentlemen, get out there and vote.
Hey, Jumaane, you got our vote
again.
I can't speak for everyone. You got my vote.
You got my vote.
I appreciate
Jumaane.
you. I don't know if you're allowed to say it, but I appreciate you.
What do you mean you're not allowed to say it? Why?
Yeah, I'm allowed to give my endorsement. I'm going with you.
Okay. All right. I'm with it. I ain't questioning it. I just, erase that part even out, man. Just tick it up. You vote for me for it. I like that.
Jumaane Williams, y'all get out and vote.
Good
luck,
He's
Jumaane.
our guy for it. Let's
I
go, man.
appreciate
He stays working. Thank you, bro.